The world's richest man, Elon Musk, of course, is currently pushing the United States to colonize Mars.
Elon says we're in danger, and he's got a plan to save us. Why are we going to Mars?
Well, we're definitely, this is a change of subject, but it's not about going to Mars to visit once, but it is to make life multiplanetary, so that we can expand the scope and scale of consciousness to better understand the nature of the universe and to ensure the long-term survival of civilization in the hopefully unlikely event that something terrible happens to Earth, that there is a continuance of consciousness on Mars.
This is a backup plan in case something bad happens here, going to Mars.
Here's a question we should first ponder. Does the universe really need humanity to survive? We really haven't done a good job of caring for planet Earth. Imagine if humans had never evolved and that Earth's smartest being would not be a human, but a chimpanzee. The highest level of life would be using sticks to fish for termites and stones to crack nuts. Our oceans, streams, and rivers would be just as pristine as they were 1 million years ago. Our air would be clean and harmless. There would be no race to build nuclear weapons, no school shootings. The Earth would be just fine. It would survive very well, and the universe would never miss us. While Musk's reasoning for our continued survival is quite weak, there are still many people who support us colonizing another planet, with Mars being the most logical one. Still, Musk wants to go there and use his Starship rocket to do it. Starship is the world's biggest and most powerful rocket, which is now 9 launches into the testing phase. Only 4 of these 9 launches have been successful. If you can get there safely, a trip to Mars currently takes somewhere around 7 months. The United States has already successfully landed robotic rovers on the Mars surface, the most recently being Perseverance, which landed on Mars in the year 2021. These rovers have taken lots of good photos and given us good but often incomplete information regarding the problems we'll encounter when we try to colonize Mars. Elon envisions a Mars human colony of about 1 million people, although others have suggested that a colony can be formed with far fewer people. In any case, a truly self-sufficient colony, one that is equipped to survive in eternity without help from planet Earth, would require a wide variety of scientists and engineers, highly skilled maintenance and repair people, teachers and medical personnel, and so on. How much living and working space would they need? To date, our only large-scale experiment for researching self-sustainable living on another planet is Biosphere 2, which is located near Tucson, Arizona. The sealed atmosphere of the Biosphere 2 complex contains 3 acres of floor area and 7.2 million cubic feet under sealed glass. And all of that supported just 8 inhabitants. The most important natural elements for human life are plentiful oxygen, water, and a livable temperature, and Mars offers us very little of all these necessities. Our Earth atmosphere is 21% oxygen, and the atmosphere in Mars has it's almost all carbon dioxide. I think it's like 0.19% oxygen. We do have technology that can extract oxygen from the large percentage of carbon dioxide contained in the Martian atmosphere, but at a price so high and energy intensive that it really isn't practical for providing the amount of oxygen that a colony would need. There is water on Mars, but we found darn little of it, and what we have found is too toxic or too poisonous for human consumption or even agriculture. Scientists think that there could be water deposits under Mars' surface, but its existence and the quality of it are still to be determined. Making Mars even yet more inhospitable is its temperature, which averages a minus 67 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think is a minus 55 degrees centigrade. Due to the thin atmosphere, heat escapes easily, leading to dramatic temperature drops, especially at night and in the winter. You could not walk on Mars' surface without wearing a heavy spacesuit equipped with an oxygen tank. Electricity is a real necessity for colonizing any place, especially Mars, and we will need an advanced technology like nuclear fusion to supply it. We can't just go deliver gasoline and diesel fuel and propane to Mars. Here on Earth, scientists are years away from developing nuclear fusion as a legitimate power source, which appears to be an absolute necessity for generating sufficient power needed by a human Mars colony. And adapting nuclear fusion energy to Mars will come with a whole new set of challenges, doing this on a fairly small scale. If Mars' natural hostility towards Earthlings doesn't deter anyone from thinking we can colonize Mars, let's talk about the project's cost, which would be the most expensive project ever for anything, and one we won't be able to afford for years. The best real-world evidence we have for estimating the cost of getting to Mars can be found in the currently stalled Mars Sample Return Program, which is designed to bring back 43 rock and soil samples collected by the Perseverance rover, which is currently on Mars. And the rover will pack them into protective cylinders for a future return to Earth for scientific analysis. But first we have to pick them up. Here's a video on how that all works, and then we'll get down to the cost of returning the Mars samples.
How does the sampling system work?
So we have a drill on the end of our robotic arm, and as we are drilling the surface of Mars, we will be collecting pieces of Mars into the sample tube at that time. We'll then transfer that sample tube into the inside of the rover and then seal it for storage as we continue to explore the surface. After we've collected a diverse set of samples, we will drop them off onto the surface and then have them there for our future sample return mission to continue.
Well, I know you have some tests to keep doing, and I'm actually going to go check out the next phase at a different lab. We're in a testing lab affectionately known as the Sandbox, and I'm here with Austin Nicholas. Now, can you explain how we are going to bring back samples from Mars?
So starting from after 2020 has deposited tubes on the surface, there are 2 more missions to go in bringing the tubes back to Earth. The first is a lander mission. It carries 3 major elements: a sample fetch rover and a sample transfer arm that lets you transfer the samples from the fetch rover into the rocket, and a Mars ascent vehicle, which is a rocket that brings the samples from Mars into space. Meanwhile, the orbiter has also launched from Earth in 2026 and is making its way towards Mars, and it'll be in position by the time the rocket's fully loaded. The orbiter will then go to the sample container that the rocket's put into space and then capture it, ultimately bringing them to Earth in 2031.
So, where are the samples now? Ah, yes, the future sample return mission. Well, in April 2024, which was after that NASA JPL film, which you just saw, NASA reported that the projected cost of $7 billion, original projected cost, had grown to an unacceptable $11 billion. And NASA has now postponed the sample return program until they can find a less expensive way of getting them back. The sample is really very small. The cores of the samples are about the size of a piece of classroom chalk. This is a 1/2 inch wide by 2.4 inches long. Shipped back, they'll be in protective sleeves, of course, but they aren't very big. By themselves, you'd think that these little samples, 43 of them, would fit in my Roy Rogers grade school lunchbox, which I still happen to have. In their protective sleeves, it would seem like they would fit in a carry-on bag. So the cost of shipping tons and tons, maybe 1 million tons of material up to Mars to build a colony would be so cost prohibitive. Just couldn't do it. At any rate, kudos to NASA for stopping the project or pausing it when they found out that there was going to be a $4 billion cost overrun. If it would have been our Air Force or Navy, you can be pretty sure that they would have not even batted an eye and just continued on with the project. So thank you, NASA, for that. What if we invest, say, $1 billion to cover upfront costs for Mars colonization, then decide the whole thing isn't practical, or it won't work as designed, or we can no longer afford it? Do we just shrug our shoulders and walk away from $1 billion? Huge investment like that, which, by the way, $1 billion is $1,000 million. In addition, there are a lot of other challenges involved, such as Mars' enormous dust storms, which are much larger than anything we've ever seen here on Earth. And there are the inhabitants' psychological challenges of living in a small, sealed environment, and also dealing with excessive radiation that hits planet Mars due to its extremely thin atmosphere, and the challenges of generating energy or electricity to meet what would be extreme energy needs. Today, our economy, with its very problematic and growing national debt, just doesn't justify such an expensive venture that is very low on our list of national needs. Rather than burst spending on rockets as we are now doing, we need a comprehensive study of the process of colonizing the planet, a list of the materials required, an honest assessment of the risks, an honest assessment of the benefits, what knowledge voids we need to fill, and an honest estimate of the project's ongoing cost. Rather than introduce a well-thought-out plan for colonization, Elon Musk likes to talk in vague generalities, like his recent comments about the tonnage of materials required to colonize Mars.
And so you can't be missing anything. You can't be missing even like the equivalent of vitamin C or anything. You've got to have everything you need for Mars to grow. That's essential. So my guess is that's about 1 million tons, but it might be 10 million tons. I hope it's not 100 million tons. That'd be a lot. But we want to try to get to that point and secure the future of civilization as quickly as possible.
1 million tons, 10 million tons, 100 million tons. Even Elon himself seems to have not much of an idea as to how much material we'd have to send to Mars in order to colonize it. Unbelievable. How about some details, Elon? A Starship's payload capacity is around 200 tons, which would require 5,000 cargo flights to Mars just to deliver Elon's lowest figure of 1 million tons. It seems as though he wants us taxpayers to write a very, very big blank check somewhere in the trillions of dollars to fund his pet project and keep testing the Starship rocket. Given Elon's penchant for details and planning, it is more than a little bit disingenuous that he would want to start this, his biggest project ever, based on just some sketchy plans and virtually none of the necessary homework. In his inauguration speech this past January, Donald Trump announced that we are going to Mars. While his friendship with Elon Musk has fractured since then, at the time it very simply appeared to be Donald Trump's payback to Elon for spending nearly $300 million to get Trump elected. In return, Musk was given charge of Doge and went on to slash government jobs and cut spending on social programs. While this has sent thousands of people's lives into a tailspin, Musk asked our government to spend unknown trillions of dollars on a very, very risky and very costly yet little needed project to colonize Mars without even having a comprehensive master plan or even a plausible reason for doing so. As we make this video, Elon has just started round 2 of his battle against Trump, and we don't know how that will end. Despite whatever may happen, we are now cutting vital lifelines to Americans, including medical care and education, veterans benefits, child care, and social programs that are needed by our citizens and would make our country much more prosperous and healthier. And the chainsaw-waving Musk has been seen to be all too happy about this. Has anyone seen signs of psychopathic behavior here? Before trying to colonize Mars, let's work on Earth and get it headed in a better direction, and perhaps work toward collecting the rock samples waiting for us on Mars. It would be great to once again see cheers from the NASA scientists and smiles on faces around the world as we make more science discoveries. As for Mars, this is not the time to spend way more money than we can afford on a project that is not needed, and based on our current technological abilities, would almost certainly fail. If fetching a few pounds of rock and soil samples on Mars is estimated to cost $11 billion, the cost for colonization of Mars is incomprehensibly large. Sorry, Elon. We are releasing this video concurrently with our video covering the fascinating Biosphere 2 experiment, where 8 people were kept in a large sealed environment for 2 years for the purpose of learning what it will take to eventually support human life on other planets. Please watch that, as it's a fascinating story and an important one to anyone who is interested in interplanetary travel. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, comment, don't buy any travel packages to Mars, and, of course, be good to your neighbors.